Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're reviewing NXT Battleground 2023. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, I grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. With that being said, let's jump right in. We start the show with a three-way match for the North American Championship. We have Wes Lee defending against Tyler Bate and Joe Gacy. This was a match I rather enjoyed. I thought this was a fun opener. You have three wrestlers here that I think are really good going for that North American Championship, which Wes Lee currently holds or held going into the match. I thought this was the kind of opener that you're used to seeing from an NXT show. Ultimately, Wes Lee picks up the win here. I thought it was really good. I'm giving this one a 4. That's followed up with a Heritage Cup match. We have Noam Dar defending against Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee had Nathan Frazier with him. Noam Dar had Oro Mensah. They come into play later in the match once it's tied up with one win apiece, and they're going for the third and deciding fall. They both get kicked out. That brings out Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. As Jakara is making the distraction, Lash interferes. I thought this was good, and I wish they wouldn't have did the overbooking of it, because to me that just that little bit of overbooking brought the match down, in my opinion. Noam Dar picks up the win here. I'm giving this one a 3. Except that's followed up with a last man standing match between Ilya Draganov and Dijak. This was awesome. I'm convinced that Ilya could have a great match with absolutely anybody. Dijak is a beast. He's a monster. He is somewhat of the perfect foil for Ilya. He's a guy, much like the matches that Ilya had with Walter, who's bigger and more imposing and makes Ilya the underdog. This was just a hard-hitting, fun, violent type match. Ilya ends up getting bruised and cut all over the place. However, he manages to bash Dijak's face into a chair, thus getting him counted down, picking up the win. Ilya Dragunov picks up the win here. I thought this was absolutely awesome. I'm giving this match a 5. It is probably my favorite match of the show. If not, it's one of my 2 favorites. I really enjoyed this. Next, we have the NXT Tag Team Championship match. Gallus being represented by Mark Coffey and Wolfgang, going up against the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius. Gallus had Joe Coffey with him. The Creeds had Ivy Nile with them. This was a good match. I kind of felt like it was just a little bit of a letdown from the match before. The end of the match sees Ava come out, Ava Rain from Schism, and she attacks Ivy Nile, which causes the distraction for Wolfgang to pick up the win here, for the Gallus to pick up the win, including Wolfgang. I thought this was an okay match. I expected a bit more. I kind of was hoping for a title change. I really like the Creed brothers. I think them picking up another title run would be really cool. Like I said, Gallus did pick up the win. I'm giving this one a 3. Next up, we have in the finals for the vacant Women's Championship tournament, Lyra Valkyria going up against Tiffany Stratton. And I know I probably pronounced Lyra Valkyria wrong. I pronounce it wrong every time I say it. It's just one of those things that gets stuck in your head one way, so you say it that way. I really enjoyed this match. I liked the package before it. I liked the dichotomy of the two against each other. Tiffany Stratton kind of following the same Charlotte Flair template, even so much so they say it on commentary. Valkyria being more of a plucky underdog that's fought her way to the championship that shouldn't have been here. I thought this was a really fun match. Ultimately, Tiffany Stratton picks up the win with the prettiest moonsault ever, the triple jump moonsault. I enjoyed this. I think Tiffany Stratton was absolutely the right choice to pick up the win here. I'm giving this one a 4. Last but not least, we have the main event for the NXT Men's Championship. We have Carmelo Hayes going up against Braun Breaker. I thought both the introductions were really cool. Braun with the wolf theme. It would have been even cooler if he had somewhat of a wolf pack type gear. Some kind of a nod to the NWO, which his uncle was a part of. Carmelo comes out and they talk about the different Boston champions and him being one. To me, this was absolutely awesome. You have 2 of your guys who I believe the future is going to be built around in Breaker and Hayes, and they're just showing you why. They're showing you why they're the top of the food chain. They're showing you why there's so much hype for both of these gentlemen. I believe that both these guys are going to be WrestleMania main eventers in the very near future within the next 3 years, in my opinion, for both of them. And you could easily see this as a Shawn Michaels Bret Hart situation where they're feuding for years in different times. Steve Austin and The Rock situation, same thing where they feud off and on for years. John Cena and Randy Orton, where basically you have two guys that are top guys, two A talents, which they could be A number one and A number two. I thought it was a really fun match. I did like this a lot better than their first match. And that's not saying I didn't like the first match, just that this was that much better. Ultimately, Carmelo Hayes picks up the win here. I thought this was absolutely awesome. I'm giving this match a 5 as well. Between this and the Dijak and Ilya match, these are my two favorites. Just a great main event on a good show altogether. Overall, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the build of it, the three-way to start the show, the finals of the Women's Championship, the last man standing match, the Men's Championship matches, they were all good. A little bit of a letdown on the tag team title match and the Heritage Cup match. The Heritage Cup I thought was good up until the point where it got overbooked. The tag title match, it just kind of felt a little short to me. Even with that being said, it wasn't a bad match. It was just a good match where I expected an excellent match. Overall, I'm going to give the show a 4 off of the strength of the 4 matches that were really good. I rather enjoyed this coming off of a really great Night of Champions. WWE had a great weekend between these two shows. I haven't watched AEW yet because obviously these were both on at the same time, so I don't know how they compare. But they had a lot to stand up against going up against both these shows, which I thought were both really good. Again, ultimately, I gave it a 4. With that being said, smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. If you see where it says join, that's how you become a member. It definitely helps the channel if you would like to do that. If you made it all the way to the end, let me know who you think the biggest prospect is out of Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker. Who do you think is going to go the furthest? Put it down here in the comments. My name is George Coles. This has been my review of NXT Battleground 2023.